So fine, let's start, guys. Yesterday we were discussing generator concept, right? So we have seen how generator is more time efficient and also memory efficient than normal collection, right? So let's see the example yesterday where we are facing an issue. Okay, so this text generator we're facing issue, right? So yeah, so when I checked, so we did actually a silly mistake. So we have written this yield so outside the for loop. So it was like this. Okay, so yeah, we need to have it over here. So okay, for each loop, it will try to return a particular value. Fine. So now if I execute this, okay, if I execute this, and if for text generator, okay, for text generator, okay, if I give three values, okay, let me just comment this. So okay, I'm giving three values, and then I'm printing next, okay. Or if you are, to make you clearly understand, okay, now I have just executed text generated 3. That means what, this function, okay, I'm passing number 3, and this gets executed 3 times, okay, but all the values are not getting printed or stored initially at the same time. Okay, so what happens, these values are getting saved in the people gen variable, and that is a iterator. Okay, and how do you get the value of from this? So you need to use the next keyword. Okay, so when I use next keyword, so you got 0. Okay, when I run it again, you got 1. Okay, when I use it again, you got 2. Okay, that means 3 values are done. If I use it again, you'll get stop iteration error. Okay, so yesterday I was trying to show the same thing. Okay, for example, let's say I pass 10 values. Okay, fine. So now if I execute this, and I'm passing 10 values. Okay, so see, so each time it is giving me 0 to 9 it has printed, and 11th time, that means 10 times it is printed, 11th time it is given the stop iteration. Okay, but in the 11th time it is taking all the unique values, right? So 0 to 9, and some random values for name and the subject, right? So this is the advantage, okay, like that. Okay, for small numbers you can go for normal collection. Okay, even the tick list yesterday which we have seen, even normal collection will also give the same result. But just in case if you want to go for a higher number, okay, if I go for this number, right, obviously I cannot execute this function on tick list. Okay, I cannot use tick list. So I will be able to use only by using text generator, because fundamentally it is not processing this, or it is neither storing these values. It is only creating and corresponding generator object for the given function. Okay, and as and when required, you will be going and using the next keyword to take each value at a time. Okay, so that's about the yesterday's example, guys. Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay, you you're in a position to understand generator, okay, and how to use yield inside a function, and once the generator object is created, how you can use next keyword to extract one value at a time. Fine. Okay, so now today we are planning to see few examples. Okay, so today we are going to see something called as assertions. Okay, assertions is a topic, and a small module is there called as date time. Okay, I'll try to show you a few things over here. Okay, and then we have something called as logging. Okay, so we'll try to show you a few examples of logging. Okay, so post this, yeah, at the end of the class I'll tell you. Okay, fine. So let's try to see what are assertions. Okay, so we uh, I, I don't tell you like we will definitely going to use assertions in every code. Okay, but first let's try to understand assertions, and then you will be able to understand. See, initially in the main idea of assertion comes into picture during the process of debugging. Okay, guys, see, writing code is one thing. Okay, so while writing code, how you will write, guys? see, the way how you'll write the code is first you'll understand the requirement. Okay. First you will write the understand the requirement. You will write a function f1. Okay. Then based upon another requirement, you need to write another function f2. Then you will link these two functions. You will pass some parameters from here to here. Okay. Like that, you will keep on developing the code, and become some thousand lines of code. Okay. From thousand lines of code it becomes. Okay. Now, when you are writing such long codes, obviously there are high chances you are going to make some mistakes. Okay, knowingly or unknowingly, silly or main mistakes. Okay, just like how yesterday I have done. Okay, so now that's why the process of debugging is important. So what is the process of debugging? To understand if where are the errors, or if there are any errors that are hanging inside our code. Okay, so that's why the process of identifying and the fixing the bugs, okay, that's called as debugging. Okay, but how you can identify? Okay, we have been already doing that by using print statement. Okay, by using print statement. Okay, so print statement is the very basic form of debugging, because uh, if you're having, like, for example, simple 10 lines of code. Okay, you're writing this. Okay, so after line number 3, the x value should be, let's say, 5. Okay, okay, based upon the operation code what you are writing in line number 1, 2, and 3. After line number 3, x should be 5. Okay, so you are printing x value of x, and you can see if the x value is 5. Okay, it's going good, or else obviously there are some issues that's going on. Agree? So i- technically, print statement will also act as a debugging. That means what? To just to know if there are any bugs. Okay, just to keep the track of the flow. So that's why we will write so many print statements. Okay, so that only, because what happens when you trigger a code, you don't know what particular step is running now, and what percentage of the code is completed, right? It will be in the complete pipeline. Okay, as I was saying, like, if you have like 10 .py files. Okay, yesterday I was saying, right, you will have 10 .py files. Okay, and one main file you will have. Okay, main file, and you will just trigger this main file, and everything gets triggered automatically. So just to know what particular file is running at any given point of time. Okay, or what function in that particular file is running. Okay, so obviously you should know, you should keep some track of it, right? Because see, if it is taking like 1 hour of time, right? So 1 hour of time, if you don't know, like, let's say after 30 minutes or 10 minutes, the control is where? Is it in the second .py file, or in the fourth .py file? Okay, because let's say you might be thinking, like, okay, if the control, you have doubt in fourth .py file, and if the control passes, okay, if the execution completes this, and if surpasses this, then you are good. Okay, so obviously you'll be waiting to when it will be completing the fourth .py file, right? So like that, what I'm saying over here is, you should know where your control is. Okay, and if there are any bugs that are happening inside our code. So that's why to we use mostly print statements. Okay, even in the actual code also what we write, so we use print statements just to know what function is started. Okay, what function has ended, what is a variable name. Okay, that is one basic way which you can do. Okay, but writing so many print statements, okay, might be cumbersome. Okay, and it might increase the length of your code. Okay, and also sometimes what happens here is, all print statements might not be uh, useful. Okay, what I mean to say here is, let's say you are writing a function. Okay, defined function. Okay, now inside this you might write print. You might just write this, the purpose of this function. Okay, the purpose of this function is to square. Okay, to do square of some numbers. Okay, you are printing this. You are printing this. That's fine. Okay, so what happens when you have executed this particular .py file? This statement gets printed on the console. That means our output screen. And the third person who is saying, will understand, okay, currently I'm in function f, and the purpose of this function is to do some square. That is fine. This print statement is useful. Okay, but after that, wherever you are having, so let's say you are having some x equal to 5. Okay, so if you want to know this value of x, what it is actually taking. So if you put a print statement, okay, if you put just to know for yourself the value of x, okay, print x. If you do, okay, if you do print x, right? And there is some other variable y. Okay, if you do print y, okay, this is just for understanding like what values it is actually taking based upon some prior execution. Okay, this will work because it will print the values of x and y, but there are two issues with this. There will be a lot of print statements that are visible in your code. That is one thing. And second thing is, these print statements will stay in the code forever. Okay, so these are unnecessary, right? So because okay, this is helping you to see what's happening inside that, but lot of print statements doesn't look good in your on your code. Okay, and also once you write these print statements, okay, there is no way that you can again delete. So okay, they will be staying like that in your code even when it goes to higher environments. Okay, so to just overcome these problems, right? So just overcome these problems and do a sort of easy debugging. Okay, we use assert statements. Okay, that's why we use assert statements. Fine. So the basic idea of assert is to handle or to help us in the debugging phase. Okay, in the debugging phase to find out bugs. Okay, to find out if if there is any unexpected flow of the program, right? So that's why we are going to use bugs. Sorry, we are going to use the other statements. But more, the fundamental advantage of other statements is once you have written other statements and there is no need to delete the other statements. Okay, there is no need to delete the other statement. Okay, it can stay over there. Okay, that will not harm your code. I will show you how. Okay, but if there are print statements, definitely it will print something. Okay, definitely will print something. Okay, and there will be a lot of variables that are getting printed on the console and lot of print statements that are staying in the code. Okay, but in the asset statements, okay, it is not having those problems. Okay, so how we are going to see? Okay, so now let's try to understand with a basic understanding. Okay, we will see the some examples so that you will get good understanding. Okay, but assertion, try to link this concept to debugging. Okay, try to link this concept to like the process, like where you are trying to find if there are any bugs. Okay, and also if there are any uh, unexpected value for a given variable. Okay, for example, we are expecting a value 10 for a variable, and if at all the variable is taking some other value other than your expectation, okay, then you can find that and you can handle that. Okay, so that is a basic concept of the assertions. Okay, we'll try to see an example. Okay. See, the fundamental concept of assertions, in assertions what happens over here is we use a keyword assert. Okay, I'll give you a basic idea. Okay, we use a keyword assert. Okay, in other words, check or verify could be synonyms. Okay, but technically we call them assert. Okay, and then we write a condition. Okay, and then we write a condition, and then we write a statement. Okay, we write a statement. Now listen carefully. Assert statement. Okay, this statement runs. Okay, only if this condition is false. If condition is true, if condition is true, nothing happens. Nothing happens. Okay, this is a fundamental point about the assert statements. Okay, this, if you understand this, then everything is easy. Okay, it's nothing. So in assert statements, you will use a keyword assert and you will write a condition, and based upon the condition, if you want to display or pop up a message statement, you will write that. That is fine, that is a syntax. Okay, but when this gets triggered, you need to understand that. Okay, this runs only if whatever the condition you are giving over here, if that is wrong. Okay, if that is false, if that is not getting satisfied, only then it runs, it triggers. But if it's true, if it is true, nothing happens. Other statements just stays like over there. It will not perform any action. Okay, so just Just if you try to relate this to the print statement, if you use a print statement, every time it will print. Okay, the moment the interpreter comes across print statements, its job is to just print something on the console. But coming to other statements, you can play with this condition. Okay, you can make sure, okay, you can decide when to print something. Okay, you can create or design the condition in such a way only when something happening against your expectation. That means only when your condition is getting false. Okay, when only when your condition is failing, right, then only you can print some statements. Or if your condition is satisfying, as long as you are good, right, so other statements will not do anything. Okay, we'll see that. Okay, so just remember this point. Now we'll see the example. Okay, see here, I'm saying this is a simple list. Okay, this is a simple list, L equal to 1 2 3 4 5. Now I'm saying for I in L, I'm looping through L. Okay, I'm printing I, that's fine. This is our concept. So here if you see, I'm using assert, okay, the keyboard, and I'm saying condition I is less than 3, fine, and I'm writing a statement. So now if you see, if I run this, as you can see, as I said, as I said, this will get triggered only when this condition fails. Okay, so initially it is 1 is less than 3, true, nothing happened. Next 2 is less than 3, okay, nothing happened. Next 3 is less than 3, no. That's why after printing this, after printing 3, it has given an error. Okay, it has given an error. What it is saying, whatever the message you are putting over here, it is saying that. Okay, so because my expectation was, so that means if you just try to build a story around this, somebody has given you a list. Okay, somebody has given you a list, and he said, hey, all the numbers what I'm giving are less than 3. Okay, he's claiming that. Okay, he's claiming that. Now for me to check that, to check that, okay, obviously there might be, you can write for I in L, and if I is greater than C, print something. Okay, print statements you can write. Okay, but using assert, how you can do like this is, because my requirement is to have a list of values only less than 3. Okay, only less than 3. I want all the list of the values. I have requested some person, and he has given me list saying that, hey, all the numbers which I'm giving in the list are less than 3. He's claiming that. Now to test that, what I'm saying, I'm writing a condition less than 3. If this is if this condition fails, only then it will enter, right? So if this condition is failing, what does that mean? I is not less than 3. And what does that mean? I is greater than 3. So I'm writing the corresponding statement over here. Getting? As I said, this statement gets triggered only when the condition fails. And if this condition is failing, what does that mean? I is not less than equal to 3. Condition is failing. That means I is greater than 3. That means I'm writing a statement to make understand greater than 3 found. Okay. So that I can find out whether that guy is cheating me or not, whether his claim is correct or not. So now, as you can see, when I'm running this, for 1 and 2, it's fine. But for 3, it gave a error. So obviously I'm able to catch that, okay, there are some values which are not complying with the condition I'm written over here. Okay. So in this basic example, just try to understand assert statements, okay, will trigger when the given condition fails. Okay. And you can write a simple statement. Okay, assertions, that's the reason I said like assertions are used for debugging purpose. Okay, and you don't need to remove these statements, they can stay like that, because as you can see, as long as you are good, as long as the requirement is like numbers are less than 3, nothing is happening. Okay, so for example, if I write here 6, okay, if I write here 6, okay, so nothing happens. See, this condition never fails. Less than 6 never fails, because all the numbers are less than 6. Every time the condition is getting satisfied, there is no number greater than 6. So this is not failing. So obviously this will not enter. So there is no problem even if this code stays in our .py file also, right? Because there is no harm. It's not unnecessarily printing some values. Okay, and it's fine as long as my requirement is less than 6. I'm fine. If the values are less than 6, I'm fine. I don't need to see any messages on my screen. But only when there is some, okay, only when there is some unnecessary data element is present, it will alert. It will say, hey, there is some value which is breaking the condition, and you can go and see that. Okay, tell me guys, are you able to understand the concept? Hmm? Hmm?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So similarly, for example, if you see, I'm saying, uh, hey Karthik, are you there? Okay. So similarly, let's say, I'm saying I'm initializing x equal to artificial. Okay. Now, if you run I'm checking if x equal to artificial, nothing happens because that's the actual value. What's the value? X equal to artificial. So if the value of x is artificial, okay, that is true. Okay, as long as this condition is true, nothing happens. Okay. So, but if at all I write something like x equal to intelligence, okay, so then you can give a check because the value of x is initialized as artificial. Okay, as long as you are checking it as artificial, it's fine. But the moment if you're checking for intelligence, okay, then it will give you an error. So it will say, hey, x should be artificial. Okay, because the value of x is artificial. Okay, so you can just you know try to find out if it is deviating from the given value. Okay, based upon that you can design your condition. Fine. So I'll show one more better example. See here, if you try to understand this example, this is a small function. Okay, average of marks. Fine. Now if you see where you are writing assert, see, first of all, let's forget assert. What we are trying to do, I am trying to return something. Return what? Return marks by length of marks. Okay, how I'm going to get uh, how is the flow? I think since we have covered all these topics, you will be able to understand. Now mark one is a variable and that is get, and we are calling this function average over here, and we are passing this mark one over here, and this gets passed over here, and same marks will be passed over here, and same here and here. Okay, so now whatever you are giving over here, that length will be calculated here, the length of this list. Okay, that will be length of list, and sum of marks, the sum of each individual elements from this will become the sum. Okay, and sum by length will be your result. Clear? I hope you are able to understand this. Now sum by length is your value. Now since this is in the denominator, because this is a divisor, so obviously this cannot be equal to 0. Fine. So now my condition is, okay, my condition is that this should not be equal to 0. What? The length should not be equal to 0. When this will be equal to 0? When it is an empty list. When it's empty list, the length of the list will be equal to 0, right? So that condition, whatever the condition you want to check, you can put it in the assert. Okay, you can put it in the assert. Fine. So see, with a single line, otherwise what happens if at all I don't want to write this? Okay, if I just write length of the marks. Okay, okay, so now if I trigger this, okay, see, it is saying zero division error. Why? Because here you are saying sum of marks by length of marks. Sum of marks is 0, that's fine, but length of mark is what is the length of this mark? It is 0. So it's zero division error you are getting. Okay, so now if you use the assert, okay, if you use the assert statement, okay, so whenever this condition is failing, so you can say length of marks not equal to 0, it should not be equal to 0. But whenever it is 0, that means what? See, the condition is length should not be equal to 0. That is the condition I'm checking. And as I said, as long as this is true, nothing happens. That means as long as the condition is not equal to 0, that means as long as there are some elements that are occurring in this list, then the length will not be equal to 0, right? So then this condition is true, nothing happens. But when this condition will break, this condition will break when this it is equal to 0. That means when you pass a empty list, this condition will break. Okay. So then it will give an error. So that's why when I run this, so it is saying, hey, over here, the expectation did not meet. Okay. It is giving an error. Similarly, for example, if I show you an extension of that example, now you can also write some message over here. Okay. As I said initially, so condition, and if you comma, and if you add some corresponding message, you can also write some corresponding message. Okay. So here also, so I'm saying if at all this condition fails, just print the message like list is empty. Okay. Now, if you see 55, 88, 78, this I'm giving some value. Okay. So the length will be some 5 and some will be something, and it will give some average. Okay. The length is not equal to 0. Okay, the length is not equal to 0, so nothing happens. Okay, so for example, if I just print mark 2, okay, so it is giving you some value. Okay, as you can see, there are two important points, guys, here. If you are noticing, one is whenever the condition is true, that means this is not equal to 0. Why it is not equal to 0? There are some elements in mark 2. Obviously there is some length is 5. So that's why this statement is not getting unnecessarily printed. Okay, whatever you're writing, it's not getting printed, but in this place, if you just write print, obviously that gets printed every time, right? So using this asset, you can try to print only when this condition is failing. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing is, it is giving you a very good understanding of the error what's happening, because here earlier, okay, you understood this, right? I will tell you. Okay, you are having, if you are having some elements, some list, okay, it's giving you some problem, that's fine, but we should always focus on the problem, not the solution. Okay, so now if you run this, it is giving you an error because the list is empty. So length is empty and it is saying list is empty. Okay, this will give you an idea. Okay, that whatever the list you are passing, that is giving you that is empty. But earlier, for example, here, if you are thinking, sir, in zero division error also we are getting some error, so what's the difference? But here, this is small example, right? But when you are writing, let's just imagine, as I said, always try to visualize it in a bigger picture. Okay, when you are writing like 10 to 20 functions, okay, and somewhere if you are getting zero division error, somewhere if you're getting zero division error, then you will not understand. Okay, then you will not understand, hey, why it is getting zero division error. Okay, it's not telling anything about our input, it is just giving the Python error. It is saying somewhere you are getting zero division error. Okay, you should again go back. Obviously you can debug, but you should go back and see where you are getting error, and then you need to check the length, what is actually giving the error. So it is a length from where you are passing the length you are getting from passing it is from mark, and you need to check here. Okay, then you'll understand somewhere. Okay, because now you are deliberately giving empty, that's why you are getting zero, guys. Okay, but sometimes this will getting passed from some other function. Let's say some function f will pass this values. Okay, then this line will not be there. Okay, directly from other function you are passing some list, and then you are executing this. If that list, whatever you are getting from other function, if it is blank due to some reason, obviously you will get this error, zero division error. Okay, if you're getting just zero division error, you will not be in a position to understand, hey, why I'm getting zero division error, because I have already written another function on top of this function to pass a list. Based upon that, I am I'm doing this execution sum and list. Okay, you will think, hey, this function is definitely passing list every time, but still why this I'm getting zero division error. Okay, you should trace back again, you should go back and check this function. Okay, and you might again see what's happening over there. This function might relate to some other function. Okay, it goes to some chain of processing, right? Ultimately you might be able to debug, but it's time consuming, effort consuming, resource consuming, right? But if you use assert statements, you can directly put the statement over here whenever your condition is failing. No need to go for the default errors. Okay, this is not giving you, helping you anywhere. It is just saying some error. Okay, but why you are getting, where you are getting, you need to again go back and handle here. But here it is, you can be in a better position to understand. Okay, you will, because you are writing this as a statements, right? As a statements are writing by you. This error is system is giving. Okay, you don't know when you will get this error. Okay, if it is zero, you will get. Okay, but we are not writing this, but here you are explicitly writing this. Okay, because you know if this condition fails, you know when it is that when that is going to get a fail. So that's why initial only you will write, you can clearly write, hey, input list passed is empty. Okay, you can write. So clearly you can see that statement over here, hey, input list passed in is empty. Okay, or to understand better, you can also write input, the input getting from list one. Okay, or which might be the, okay, from function one. Okay, from function one is empty. Okay, you can write very detailed statements. Okay, you will understand function. Okay, where is function one? There might be some function one above this. Okay, from where you are getting the input. Okay, so you will understand, right? When you are writing the other statements, you will understand in which particular case, at what point this might fail, right? So that's why you can write the corresponding message from this. The moment when you see this assertion error, you can directly understand, okay, the input getting from function is empty. You can get a clear idea. Okay, I'm passing it from function one, right? So some, due to some reason, I'm getting empty. You can also put one other statement over here also. Okay, directly the debugging will become easy because you will have more control. You will have exactly, okay, where that the code is breaking and where what is the reason for the bug. Okay, so that's how assertion statements will help you guys. Are you able to understand? Follow the example. Are you able to like understand the importance of assertion statements, or are you thinking uh, what's great in this? You can let me know. Did you understand the concept, guys? The example, how it's, where it's helping? Hmm? No? Any confusions? Any doubts, guys? Okay, fine. I will take that as no. Fine. So that is the basic examples of asset statements, right? So you can use it in different shapes and forms. Okay, wherever you doubt a condition might fail, you can just put an asset statements as I shown here. So that we'll have a good track of the flow. Okay, so there might be a few examples. For example, there are different types of asset statements. Okay, let's say you can check the data type of a particular variable. Okay, for that you need to use asset is instance. Okay, so there are some default other statements which are given. Okay, so we have seen the example, right? So this is your customized, whatever you want to write you can write here. Okay, but let's say you want to find out the best, you want to find out the data type of a, check or verify data type of a particular variable. So here I'm giving it as 3 as an int. Okay, if I give int, I'm checking what is instance. Okay, I'm checking the data type of 3. Okay, I'm checking x, I'm giving int. Okay, it is true. As I said, if it is true, nothing happens. Okay, but if it's false, if I'm checking for string, obviously it says, hey, assertion error. Okay, so use is instance will try to help you to check the given data type. Okay, and this will be sometimes very helpful. Okay, very helpful, because what happens over here is sometimes, even though it looks like a number, that might be, sorry, even though it looks like an integer, that might be a string, right? Some other function might be passing you a value 56, for example, and you are trying to add that to your number, let's say 84. So if you're trying to add over here, but this 56 might be a string 56, right? So obviously it will give you, you cannot add int string error, right? I'm just giving an example. So here you can just, before that you can check asset is instance x comma, you want it to be integer. Okay, you want it to be integer, fine. So if it is not integer, it fails. Okay, so it will check for integer. Okay, so here what I'm doing, x equal to, I'm checking for the string. Okay, if it is not string, it will fail. Similarly, you can also check for integer. Okay, if the coming value, if it is not integer, it will fail. Fine. So otherwise it runs as usual. Fine. So there are, this is one type of assert statement where you can put to find out the data type. But if I put the if I convert this as string, it works fine. Everything works fine. Okay. And another assert statement, a small assert statement which you can use here is, let's say I'm having a L equal to 1 2 3 4 5. If you want to find out if a particular value is present over here in the list, okay, I can say 1 in L works fine because 1 is present in L. But if I say 10 in L, it gives an other statements. Okay, it will tell you the condition is breaking over here. Fine. So that's about other statements, guys. Okay, small concepts, but if you get the idea, you can definitely use it in different situations, okay, based upon the concepts which I've discussed. The only thing you need to remember about the assertion is assert keyword, condition, print statement, whatever you want, right? Okay, assert statement, assert keyword, condition, and this condition, you are designing the condition based upon your requirement. So that if you want to print this statement, you should design the condition in such a way that this should fail. That means if it fails, the corresponding print statement you should write as I was showing earlier. Okay, fine. So I hope we are good with the assertions. Okay, next actually we have something called as datetime module, guys. Okay, this is a small module. Okay, just I will show you a few examples. Okay, so this is like pretty explanatory, fine, but still just to make sure that you guys are aware of this, I'm showing few examples. But however, if you want to go into depth, right, so I have actually picked this from the famous website called as Programmist. Okay, so you guys might be already aware of Programmist mostly, right? So Programmist is like one of the very helpful blogs or website for Python. Okay, so it's examples are actually very well written over here. Okay, so I recommend this. And tomorrow will be our last class for the Python module. Okay, so I'll share you a website where you can practice a lot of problems. Okay, and I will also tell you in case if you want to go for the Python certification. Okay, so I'll also tell you some points about that. Okay, so tomorrow, just in case if I forget about this, right, so just remind me. Okay, and just coming back. Okay, just coming back. Oh, okay, so date time. Datetime is a simple module, guys. Okay, so I'll show you a few examples. Okay, they're like lots and lots of things you can do with the date time. Okay, but those are all not that important, or you're not going to use all of those. Okay, but you can completely explore if you want it from this website. Okay, it is giving the complete details regarding the date time. Okay, but whatever we are going to use mostly, I'm going through that. Okay, so the main thing is you need to import the date time. Okay, and if you want to find out the time now, as of now, okay, you can just say now. Okay, it will give you a time, date and time is 7:18, as you can see over here, and date is 16. Fine. And just date of today, you can go for today. Okay, 23/20/10/6. Okay, and what all you can use, right? So nobody need to tell you, you can just do the dir of that particular module. Okay, dir of that particular module, date time, right? So it will give you, see what all you can do with this. Okay, so that means what? Okay, you are having date time dot. Okay, if I do write a letter and just print the tab, right, so it will try to print what all I can do with that. Okay, so should I give it as a function? It is not callable. Okay, max year is 9999, right? So they have given, they have considered the maximum year over here is 9999. Okay, so after writing this model, so any model, not only this module, so any module, so after you can if you put dot and just print tab, okay, it will give you what all you can do inside that. Okay, see, I can use mini year. Okay, mini year is one, fine. I can use again date, as you can see in date I'm using, right? So but date is not printing anything, so that means there is something inside again date. That if you want to know that, just dot and do tab again. See, these all you can use. Okay, so today, so the way how you are able to use this date time is date time dot date dot today. Okay, you can use that. Okay, so if it's a function, just call the function. Okay, see, this is a function. Whenever you are seeing a function, right, that means it is saying, hey, you cannot directly use it. Okay, it's a function. And how you can call the function, we already know. Just calling the function. Okay, it is giving the date time in the datetime format. Fine. So if you do the directory of datetime, just datetime, it will tell you what all you can do in with datetime. But if you also do directory of datetime dot date, okay, here you are having datetime dot date, right? So it will also tell you what all you can do with datetime dot date. Okay, similarly you can also try and explore datetime dot datetime. See, inside datetime there is one more datetime. Okay, so if I take that, put it over here. Okay, so as you can see, inside datetime there are a lot of things. You see date, day, is, week, maximum, microsecond, tuple, timestamp, weekday, year, lot, and lots of things. Okay, daytime, CPA, time. Okay, see, inside datetime you are also having time. Okay, so see hours, seconds, microseconds. Okay, you can just do dot and print that. Okay, just dot and print that. Okay, so I'm not going into details because it's extremely self-explanatory. Okay, I'm just giving you the lead. You can try to play with this for some time. Fine. So but the main thing, if you is for time, today's date and time, you can use datetime. And second thing is timestamp. So coming to timestamp, right? So uh see the date from the given timestamp, that means usually when the Python code, so they consider the timestamp from a, that means what, from a particular date, and that date is January 1st, 1970. Okay, so this is a date. I think they call it as some I forgot something. They call this as UTC or some date. Okay, so but this is a starting date they consider, and timestamp is from this January 1st, 1970. Okay, if at all I spend this many number of seconds, okay, after completing this many seconds, right? So what will be the date? Okay, so then we will be in this date, some 1974. Okay, after 4 years. Okay, so if I see, if I just give 12 seconds, we will be on the January 1st, 1970 only. That's why it is giving January 1st, 1970. Okay, so if I give some 10,000, see, you are going to the 12th date of January 1st. Like that, you can give, it's going out of the range. See, if I give some random value, it is saying one, if we spend this many seconds, we will be in this particular date. Okay, so that's just an example, guys. You will not be using this anywhere. Okay, just to now here, if you want to know the current time, go for datetime dot now. Okay, so this is the time. And one more thing is import time. Okay, import time, time dot time, get the current time in seconds since the epoch. Okay, that means what? Yeah, they will call this as epoch. Okay, from this particular dates, from this particular date, these many seconds have passed. Okay, these many seconds have passed. As you can see, if I give this value over here, it is saying what date? Today's date, 2023, 10th October. Okay, sorry, October 6th, correct? Yeah. So that means from January 1st, 1970, it's called epoch. Okay, they call it as epoch. So from that epoch, if you spend this many seconds, okay, you will be over here on today's date. Fine. So that's a basic lead about date time, guys. So as I said, you can explore more on this. Okay, so fine. So now we are going to discuss another important topic in Python called as logging. Okay, so I'll give you a basic idea about this logging too. See, now coming to logging, right? Okay, so as you can understand by the name, what it will do, it will log some values. Okay, and why to log some values? Because whenever you're writing a notebook, all the values, all the variables are available or active only till that notebook is alive. Once the notebook dies, you will lose everything. You might getting error, you might be getting some error in some particular code, you might be handling that. Okay, you will be doing lot of things. Okay, what all things you are doing and what all operations are happening after each function. Okay, you lose the track of everything once your notebook dies. Okay, you don't know what has happened. You will get the result, that's fine, but if you want to see what has happened or what errors you got, right, you need to again rerun the notebook. Okay, so that is one thing. And another thing also, so that if you don't make a note of the errors which you are facing, right, so obviously that will be a rework. You will be repeating your work again and again to handle the same errors. Okay, so that's why logging is important. Okay, so that you can store the complete application flow, exceptions, okay, different kinds of information. Okay, different kinds of information you can log. That means what, we are saving some statements. Okay, saving some information. In simple words, if we are saving some information from our code. Okay, if this is your code, okay, so you can try to put some logging statements. We'll see how, so that you will know what all has happened, what error you got, what went success, what failed, what issues you faced. Okay, those things you can log it into some file. Okay, so that next time, okay, even if you lose this, if you see this log file, you will get an idea. Okay, so these are the exceptions I faced, these are the issues I faced, this is the when I have actually ran my notebook started, this is when it has stopped it. You can write all kinds of informations, warnings, etc. Okay, and another important point is you can also try to analyze this. Okay, you can also try to analyze, if at all it will be obviously a big list of file. Okay, you can try to analyze what are the similar errors you are trying to face. Okay, so if you're logging every issue you are getting to the log file, and if you can analyze, you can do some analysis, what type of common issues you are facing. Okay, or is it because of any file not found? Okay, or what is the time it is taking to execute? What is the most time consuming function? You are able to understand, right? Because the fundamental, once you write the code, writing code is one step, guys, I'm telling you. In industry, writing, developing is one thing. Okay, developing the code is one thing. Obviously you should be well prepared with all the concepts, knowledge you should have. Okay, that's fine, but don't think that will only take you to next level. Okay, second thing is organizing the code will be one thing. Okay, organizing the code will be one thing. Okay, and mostly optimizing the code is the most important thing. Optimizing the code will be the important thing, because what happens is, if at all, because by the knowledge what you have now, okay, either three of you, okay, you will be able to solve almost any Python program. Okay, if you're giving a Python program, if you have learned different concepts of dictionary, functions, exceptions, you can handle, you can write a code, you can handle, you can do anything, right? I can see that confidence. That is fine. Python, as Python is simple. Okay, it is not that difficult to understand, and okay, start writing the code, you will be able to write the code. That is fine, that is good. But second thing is, what happens is, while we are writing, right, so we always by default we will try to write some lengthy code. Okay, so see, unnecessarily we'll try to initialize some variables. I'm just saying some basic mistakes, or not mistakes, okay, some pitfalls, I would say, so which will unnecessarily increase our length of the code. And which, if your length of the code increase, obviously the time will increase, effort will increase, resources will increase. The three important things will unnecessarily increase. Okay, so unnecessarily you might be creating a lot of variables. Okay, or you might be using a lot of for loops. Okay, lot of for loops you might be using. Okay, because while writing you will understand, instead of using a lot of for loops, okay, you can use some lambda functions. Okay, so like map function reduce will also sometimes can replace the functionality what you are trying to write with the for loop. Okay, and as I said, instead of writing a new function, you can just use a lambda function, right? Because getting the solution is not the point. You can come to solution by using any of these. Okay, by you can constantly create some variables where, and as and when where required, you can go multiple loops, finally you will get the solution. That's fine. Okay, but how you are reaching the solution will also become important. Okay, first reaching the solution is important, that means developing the code is obviously important, but once you are done with that, then you should find better ways of doing that. Okay, better, the code should be more organized, it should be clearly I mean, it should make sense to the third person, okay? Because whatever you're writing, it is partially for you and partially for the other person, because even if you leave the project or even if you are giving to the next team, you should be able to clearly understand the flow. That's why it should be in the complete modular way of programming. That means you should have lots of functions, right? So that wherever, if you're having issue in this function, obviously the other flow should not get disturbed. Okay, you should come here and just fix this, and again the flow should continue. And third thing is, you should write minimum number of lines of code. Okay, so minimum number of lines of code and minimum number of variables required. Okay, and minimum number of loops, etc. Okay, because this will take most time. That's called optimizing. Fine. Because once you are, what is the point of writing code, right? Obviously you should deploy it somewhere, right? Okay, you mostly, I think in these days we are using cloud. Okay, you will deploy into either AWS or Azure or GCP, like that. Okay, once you put it in the cloud, right? So what happens, you will, as long as it is running, they will charge. I'm giving you a practical scenario why you should optimize. Your managers will definitely bug you to optimize. I'm sure you will face the situation, because you are not going to run this on your local system. Your company will buy some server, AWS server they will buy, okay, or Azure something, and they will pay monthly, and they will charge heavily. Okay, and if you're writing a code, okay, and if you're putting in the production environment, okay, in the production, that means live environment where it actually is running, it is taking the dynamic data, live data from the customers. Okay, for example, it's a hospital, right? So it is taking the data. Okay, it is interacting with the customers. Okay, or insurance or any, as an example, right? So if you're writing, and if it's a lengthy code, so if it is taking even in seconds also, they will count. So if it is taking like 1 minute, like 40 seconds, okay, they will ask you to reduce it to 1 minute. Okay, because the whole code will run for few minutes, because the servers will be extremely fast, and there will it will be high speed servers they will be using, right? So instances, so it will take few minutes of time to run. Okay, so the seconds will also matter. Okay, so then you will be asked to reduce this seconds also, so that why can't it take like just 1 minute to run? Okay, then again you should come back, because as long as it is running, as long as it is hitting the server, as long it is getting some response, and it is sending some request in this cloud. Okay, so the time will be stored in the AWS, and the AWS team will charge for that. He will say, hey, you have used my resources for this much of time. Okay, so pay me for that. Okay, if one customer, okay, for one customer C1, if it is taking 1 hour 40 seconds, okay, so obviously how many customers any company will deal with? Thousands of customers, right? Lakhs of customers. Okay, if you do lakhs into 1 minute 40, you will get some 40 lakhs minutes, and this 40 seconds will also become some hours, right? So obviously you need to reduce this as much as low as possible. That means you should optimize it. Okay, you should write a clean code. You should write, as I said, only whatever it is required, right? You should create a variable only when it is required. Okay, as I said, you can do with everything, but writing only when it is required will definitely optimize your code. Okay, so that is one important point you will be knowing when you write it practically. Fine. So now coming back. So to do all this, to know the flow, everything, so we will use the concept of logging. Okay, we'll use the concept of logging. Fine. So now coming to logging, right? So let's see quickly what are the few examples of logging. Okay. So now in the logging, as I said, you can log few details. Okay. There are actually some levels, guys. Okay. You will have some logging levels. Okay. So the levels are, first is not set. Okay. So you will have actually 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. Okay. These are the levels. Okay. This is for not set. That means level is not set, and 10 is for debug. Okay, and 20 is for info. Okay, and 30 is for warning. Okay, 40 is for error. Okay, and 50 is for critical. Okay, fine. So now these are the levels, and we'll see now how you can actually create some file and start storing the messages is, we'll see that. Okay, so this is a basic example. Okay, we'll come back to this. Okay, see, but okay, I just give you a brief idea. See here, so the way how you can use the logging over here is, first of all, you should import the logging module. Okay, everything is already written. You can just use that and do your work. Okay, so inside that you have something called as basic config. Okay, you should call this class, and there you need to pass, okay, what level you are setting. Okay, I am setting it to info. Okay, I am setting it to info. So here you can I'm logging info. Now using this logging module, okay, using this logging module, you can give some info. Is what info is for some information. Okay, so okay, I not explain you this, right? So this will tell you the level not set. Okay, this will tell you the level not set. Okay, debug is what it just for a debugging information, just to tell you some debugging information. Okay, this is for some important information or message. Okay, you can use this level. Okay, warning is warning message. Okay, warning message, and that means some caution is needed. Okay, whenever you think some caution is needed, you can go for warning. Okay, error represents a serious issue. Okay, and this will represent very serious problem. Okay, and requires attention. Okay, these are the levels which we have in the logging. Okay, based upon the thing which you feel, right, you can use these levels. Okay, now here what I'm doing, I am using level.info. Okay, that means what some important information I just want to print. Okay, so that's why I'm just printing over here. So as you can see, it's just logging. As of now, we are not saving, we're just saying. Okay, if you're not saving to any file, it will just print it to the console. Okay, this is the console, and it is just saying I'm just giving some information. Okay, logging.info, whatever you want to print over here, it will just tell you. Okay, but let's see some logging information, how you can log to a text file, then you will get an idea. Okay, fine. So for example, let's say, okay, so let me go for, okay, I'm creating log test.txt. Okay, this is a file I'm creating. The way how I'm doing, you observe logging, import logging. Okay, and sorry, import logging, and inside that you will have a basic configuration. So you should set this basic configuration. Inside that you will have file name where you want to save all these loggings, some .txt file you give, and then what is the level you want to set. Okay, this level is, I'm setting it as warning. That means what? There is an important point you need to observe. Whenever I'm setting it to a level, okay, let's say warning. So that means warning level or higher level messages will be saved. Okay, it will store only whatever the level you are setting. It will store that and the upper above messages. That means I'm setting it to warning. Okay, that means it will consider warning, error, critical. Okay, these three, warning and its upper level logging levels, it will consider for the story. Okay, and it will not consider info debug or not set. Okay, not set is just if it will indicate that you did not set any level. Okay, but if you are setting it to debug, it will consider all, because greater than 10 will be all, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, but if you're setting to error, it will consider only error and critical, and it will ignore warning, info, debug. Okay, now let's see. For example, let's say I'm having, okay, so I'm printing log test dot txt. Okay, level logging dot warning. Now debug dot info, I'm trying to print all this. Okay, now if I just run this log test dot txt, let me go over here, and as you can see, log test dot txt got created. And as you can see, what got stored, only warning, error, critical, only these three statements got saved. Even though I have written everything, I have written debug, I have written info, warning, error, critical, but because I have set my level to logging dot warning, that means, hey, start with warning and consider all above levels. That is the meaning of this when I'm setting. So that's why, that is why you are not seeing this debug and info. Okay, that means what, wherever you write, okay, this is an example. Okay, if you extend this in a program, wherever you write debug and info, that will not be considered. Okay, it will only consider warning loggings. Okay, that's why you're able to see only warning and above things. Okay, now if I change this to debug. Okay, and if I run this, okay, as you can see, oh, it is overwriting over here. Okay, let me go for a new file. Log test 0. Okay, if I run this, Okay, it will save this. Okay, let me, in loggings, right? So anytime you face error, so you can execute this line. Sometimes it will not save. Okay, if you execute, it will just remove some unwanted things from inside that. Okay, and if you execute that log test of 0, okay, now as you can see, it is printing this. Now here you can see the all the information. Okay, earlier we are able to see only warning was giving only, okay, not this, it got overridden, this file is overridden. We'll see how you can handle this overridden. But if you remember, we are seeing only warning error critical, right? So now as you can see, since I've set the level as debug, it will consider debug and all its above. That means what, debug is 10, that means 10 and all this above warnings also it will consider. Okay, that's why you can see debug info warning error. Okay, every message you can see. Okay, now coming to an example over here, so we'll see. Fine, so we'll try to understand this. Yeah, one is logging level set, and other thing is the file mode, guys. So file mode is in the sense, you can set the file mode. Since as you can see, my file got overridden, right? So there are two file modes which you can set over here. So actually the complete configuration which you can set are three parts. One is file name, second thing is the level, third thing is a file mode, as you can see. Okay, so this is a complete file mode. So level, file name, and the file mode. Okay, file mode could be W, that means write, or append, same thing, same like file handling what we discussed. Okay, file W will just rewrite the file, and append will add to the existing part. Okay, so if you write, okay, so if I just consider, okay, log test of 0, fine, so it is writing that. And if I give this as uh, error. Okay, so now, okay, so sometimes this will be error, but let me run this. Yeah, as you can see, I have given error. Okay, so the earlier logs got deleted. Why? Because if you remember, write will always overwrite completely, and it will erase, and then it will write. Okay, but if you use append, okay, so now you're already having error critical, right? You're already having error critical. Now if I change this to info for that matter, okay, so if I run this, right, if I run this, if I close this, if I refresh this, sometimes this will give you error, so you should, yeah, as you can see, you will get it from the info return. Okay, so you'll have error critical error, and info warning error critical. Okay, it is writing. Fine, so that's how you can control the level of logging, what all levels. If you feel you don't want information to be printed, if you want to only from warning error critical, you can put the level as warning. Okay, and depending upon the file mode. Okay, fine. Now let's try to see an example. Okay, a simple example regarding the logging, because even in logging also we can go into much depth. Okay, there are like lot of different formats, examples, everything is there, but we are not going into complete depth because this, it is out of the scope of this course. Okay, as I said, the scope of this course is not like make you a Python expert or make you a NumPy expert, Pandas expert. No. Okay, so the main concept of this course is to give you all the required skill set so that you will be able to start giving interviews for a data science job. Okay, so now if you are coming back to the example of to logging, fine. So see, I'll show you a basic example over here. Okay, so let's say you are having my log test is my test file. So as you can see, logging.basic config. Okay, import logging. Obviously, you need to do import logging. Okay, so then using this logging, you need to config the logging configuration. So what, as I said, only three things it will take. Okay, one is file name. Okay, second thing is level. Okay, okay, and the level file mode, by default it will be append mode. Okay, and you can also use the format. Okay, I'll show you what is this format is. Okay, that means over here you are having error, right? You are having critical, you are having this, but when did this error happen, right? When did this critical happen, where exactly this happened? Okay, you can also use a date and timestamp. Okay, so that at 6th October, on this particular time this error happened, after that this happened. Okay, so that you can have the flow clarity. Fine, so now let's see, if let me run this. Okay, and it is saying what it is saying, giving me error, sorry, give me some number. I'll say 10 and 5. Okay, the result is 2. Okay, so now my log test.txt, let's see if it got created. Yeah, as you can see, it got created. Okay, so now as you can see clearly what's happening over here. First I'm taking log info dot new request. Okay, log info dot new request is what, see, information I'm using over here. Okay, so when that is happened, so it has happened at on this date on 10:46:56, 7:46:56. Okay, and some number. Okay, so now info is a new request, that is information you are trying to log, and that is a new request. Okay, and then it has executed this, it has went into try, it did not go into exception. Okay, what we are doing, if you observe initially, if I just explain you, you are trying to divide two numbers, and there you are having a try block and you are having except block, which we have discussed in our exception handling. And if it is try, nothing happens, everything is fine. But if it is facing any exception, you are trying to log that exception. Okay, as you can observe here, you are trying to log the exception. How you are logging the exception? Simple, using logging dot exception, you can log the exception. Okay, from this exception you will get this message which we have discussed in our exception handling classes, and that you can log to the logging dot exception. Using this logging module, you can use logging dot exception function to log the. Similarly, you can also, using logging dot exception, you can log some values over here. Okay, so now that's why if I'm printing, let's say 10. Okay, I'm giving 0, right? So it's entering over here. Okay, it is printing 0. Okay, but if you go and see over here, okay, as you can see, this is done. Okay, new request is done. But now again, second time you got a new request. Okay, at this particular timestamp. Okay, and then what is the error? Error is division by 0. Okay, you are getting a division by 0 error. Okay, that is a error which you got over here. Okay, and this is a time, and then finally the request is done. Oh, sorry. Finally the request is done. Okay, so you can see the get a track of this error. Similarly, if I just execute this, okay, and the flow is not breaking. See, if you observe, flow is not breaking because of the try except block. Okay, and if I give some 100 and if I divide it by a, okay, so it is going where? It is going over here. Only int accepted, it is going here, and it is logging the corresponding value error whatever you are getting. Okay, so now if I go over here and if I, okay, so if I refresh it, as you can see, this is a till request done. Okay, now if you see here, we are having a new request, and then you are having an invalid error. Okay, so the base is not 10. Okay, whatever you are getting, it has ended in line number what over here, the only int accepted. Okay, there you are getting error. Okay, it is saying invalid literal for base 0. Okay, so that's the error which is logging clearly over here. Okay, so that's how you can log some errors, messages, etc. Okay, so you can extend this to other levels also, but I would say that is a basic information about the logging, a basic example. Fine, if you are interested to go into depth of the logging, so I can share you some notes. Okay, so but for the basic start, right? So I think basic loggings should be enough. Okay, we have many lot of things, okay, which we normal don't use, like you have 10 different types of formattings over here. Like if you want time, date, fractions, okay, current time, a lot of things you can do over here. And you can also write some custom logins also. Okay, so that's will be the next level. Okay, but I feel that's out of the scope because we don't use that much. Okay, so fine. So I would say this is a basic concept of logging, how you can log and how you can verify the error over here. Okay, so now you can combine different concepts of try, except, okay, logging. You can also use some logging dot warnings also you can use. Fine. So fine guys, so that's the example I would like to show you. Okay, so as I said, we have covered assertions, we have seen date time, we have seen logging. Okay, so there is one more concept in Python. It's called regex, guys, regular expressions. Okay, so it's called regular expressions. Okay, so these are sometimes used. So okay, I don't want to skip this concept also. So tomorrow, the plan is tomorrow will be the last class in the for Python. So we are going to cover something called as regular expression. Okay, so which is very helpful in text handling or pattern recognition sort of thing. Okay, we are going to see that. Okay, sometimes you will, because you guys are freshers, right, Megan and Sirisha. So in some interviews or in some companies they will put Python rounds also, some programming coding rounds also. So there, if you face this problem, so you might be positioned to handle this. Okay, that's why I want to cover this. And post that we'll see some code of Python. So general Python code we'll try to see. And then, as I said, I'll show you a website where you can practice Python like anything. Okay, Python practice, where you can practice and solve a lot of problems. And I'll also speak about certification. Okay, if at all if you're interested in certification, you can go for the certification, which will give you some good amount of confidence. Okay, so that will be the plan for tomorrow. And as tomorrow is Saturday, you guys are joining, right? Or any plans to skip? Yes, everyone. Or if you are planning anything, you can let me know. Is it fine for tomorrow, Meghana?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
having mid exam, we need to.
Sorry.
We are having mid exam.
From when?
Actually started, sir. Tomorrow we are having exam.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So like how many days it will continue? Okay. So fine. Let me just stop the recording and we can talk. Just give me a second. Okay. But that is the plan for tomorrow. Fine. So just.